So why do I think that comparison can kill you? While it might seem a bit exaggerated, I certainly agree with that, because while I think comparison itself is not bad for motivation and setting up some goals, it's just the way how we set up those goals, which I don't think is exactly right. And by not exactly right, what I mean is that we set up goals and we compare ourselves to people that are the best of the best. They are the top 0.01%, and what they achieved is so far and so ridiculously high level that I don't think it's really a good thing to compare ourselves to something like that, because what it creates is this kind of confusion, because you see the things they achieved, but you don't see those things happening to you. And why is that? It's just because the journey to that level takes such a long time and such an effort that even though you're making some progress, it doesn't seem like it, because it's a tiny step. And a tiny step on a long journey doesn't seem to be as big. It seems like nothing. But in reality, if you do it for a long period of time, you will really see the progress. But if you just focus on the end goal, it won't work, because even after years of trying, you probably won't be even close to that goal. And I don't want to say that you are not allowed to make any goals. It's a good way to try directing our lives to something that we desire. I think that we should be more exact, because if I want to be a football player, if I compare myself to Messi or to Jamal or whoever, it's likely that I will never be that good, because they are just the best of the best. So even though if I eventually start maybe playing a pro football, I will probably never be satisfied. And one can argument that, okay, but you achieved something and this is what pushes you forward. And I agree with that. It's just, I don't think many people will get to that point. They will just become discouraged and they will give up, because it will seem so far. And let me give you another example. Like, let's say you have a group of 10 people and 9 of them are earning 0 per month and 1 is earning 10,000. In theory, if you're earning 800 euros, you're doing really bad, because you're earning below average amount of income, which is 1,000. But in reality, what you do is that you earn better than those 9 people. So there's only one person that earns more than you, but because you're comparing yourself to the data and to the one which is best of the best, it doesn't seem like a huge success. So that's what I dislike, because it creates this new standard, which I think is an illusion. And what's wrong with this illusion is that you start thinking that you are doing much worse than you are in reality. And it creates this huge cycle of being depressed and unmotivated, because everyone seems to be doing better than you. And that's not true at all, because we acknowledge things that we desire the most, and we tend to overlook or ignore things that we don't really desire. So if I'm walking in a street and I see someone with a flashy car, of course I'll acknowledge him, because I want such a nice car. I would want to achieve that. But if I walk across and I see 10 men, they are homeless, I'll probably just forget about it in a couple minutes, because that's not something that I desire. But if you acknowledge them and you really say to yourself, okay, maybe I don't have a flashy car, but I could be one of those homeless men. And you clearly are not homeless, because you're watching this video, so you have access to the internet, which is also a huge advantage. So what I want to say is that I don't really agree that the comparison is always bad. It's just, if you set up a goal and you compare yourself to someone who is really successful, acknowledge the journey that he might took, or acknowledge the fact that the things might not be as good as they seem for that person, and set up some partial goals to better track the progress, because in that way you can really see those small steps that you make. And if I could give you one advice, which I think is the best and that worked out pretty well for me, is that if you want to compare with someone, compare your present self to your past, because there you can really see the improvement that you've made over the time. And even though things doesn't seem to change, if you track them by day-to-day basis, if you look, let's say, a month ago or a year ago, you will see how big of an improvement you've made. And if you take a look into your past and you cannot see any progress, then you probably should pay more attention to your everyday life and acknowledge things that you dislike about yourself and try to make them better and track some progress. And I think after some time you will start acknowledging them and you will become more aware of yourself, and it will really boost your confidence and you will become less depressed, more happy. So this will probably be everything that I wanted to share with you. So I hope that maybe it gave you some directions and maybe helps you in the state of life that you are in right now. And just be kind to people, don't be discouraged by bad people, and don't be afraid to take risks and do some changes, because even though you might not achieve the top goal that you wanted, at the same time you made some progress on yourself, and it's the journey that counts. So don't be afraid to do that. Goodbye.